Right now we are looking at my Windows 7 computer. So this is my Windows 7 computer and I have Oracle VM VirtualBox open. So VirtualBox is a free piece of virtualization software you can go and download. Just do a Google search for it. I did a class on it before, so if you're curious about VirtualBox, do a search, and I've done a VirtualBox class before. But what I want to show you first, just to make sure you know this is the trial where you can download Windows Server 2012. So you can see you can get an ISO version of it or a virtual hard drive depending on what you want, and from here you can download, and it's a 180-day trial, full featured, all the functionality. So let's go over now, and we're going over to VirtualBox. So I've already set up a virtual server, a virtual instance for this 2012 server, and it's currently powered off. So now all I have to do is click on the start button, and this will start this virtual machine. Now I've already put the CD into the CD drive of this computer, and so it's going to be booting off of that CD so that we can install the software. So as this is clipping along, the main thing to remember, if you're going to be installing, because if it doesn't boot off that optical or CD drive, well, then you're not going to be able to boot off the disk, and then you're not going to be able to install the operating system. So just make sure you do the boot off of CD, and then you'll be able to start this process. So now it's started up, and so it's asking you, do you want this to be installed in English, time and currency, keyboard, so on and so forth. I'm an American, so it's all English. If you're off in Mogadishu, well, pick whatever you guys want. So from here, as you can see, now it gives you the option to just click the Install Now button. So all we have to do is we can click Install Now, and that starts the installation process. Now from here, you're going to notice that there's 4 options, and this is what I was talking about in the beginning. Basically, it gives you the option between what is called Server Core and Server with a GUI. Now you're going to see that there's Standard, Evaluation Edition, and Data Center. So in the introduction to Windows Server 2012, I talked about where there's these 2 different versions of the Windows Server operating system, and that for now you should just stay with the standard version. But in the standard, you will see that there's Standard, Server Core, and Standard GUI. Now what you want is you want to highlight the Server with a GUI. This is Server with a graphical user interface. The reason is because if you leave it to Server Core, that will only give you basically a blinking cursor at the end of this. So that if you only do Server Core, once this is installed, it will not give you a graphical user interface. It will simply give you a PowerShell prompt. So you want to make sure that you highlight the second option, Server with a GUI. So this will give you the nice, nutty graphical user interface that Windows Server 2012 is known for. And now, after you pick that, all you're going to do is you're going to click on Next, and that will bring you through the rest of the process. So from here we see, this is the standard EULA, End User License Agreement, that nobody ever reads, and what we're going to do is we're going to click Next. Now, here is the option. It's going to ask you whether to upgrade or do a custom install. Do the custom install. If you do an upgrade, basically what it's going to tell you is it's going to drop you out of this whole process and tell you to boot into the normal operating system and do an upgrade from the normal operating system. So if you are doing a fresh install of Windows Server 2012, which you guys should be doing, you want to go down and you want to click on the custom. From the custom, we now get our drive options. So this is a brand new hard drive on this VirtualBox virtual machine. So I can just click Next from here. Now, if you guys are using machines that have been used in the past, there may be multiple partitions here. If that is the case, I would suggest you delete them. So you would highlight them and delete them, and then create a new partition, and from there go on. So you can have options here. So when you click on that options, if there were partitions, I would be able to highlight them and delete them. And then once all the old partitions have been deleted, I would then click new and create a new partition from them. But since this is a brand new hard drive, I don't have to do that. So now all we'll do is we'll click Next. And now it starts copying the files and doing all the stuff. So overall, the installation process probably takes about, I don't know, all told, maybe about 25 minutes to install the Windows Server. So I'm going to let this go. We're going to have a little screen wipe here because, you know, kind of fast forward through this process, and then we'll go on to the next steps. Okay, so after the operating system installs everything and does everything it needs, we get to this page where it's asking you for the new password for this particular server. Now, I just want to once we've gotten to the process this far, it's asking us for a password, and so basically you're just gonna type in whatever password you want to give it. So. And then we're going to hit finish. Hopefully those are right. And now it's going to be finalizing the setups. Now remember, with the new Windows Server operating systems, they do get very finicky with those passwords. So make sure you have at least one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter in the password, one number in the password, and one like special symbol such as the pound sign or the percent sign or the exclamation mark or so on or so forth. So make sure you have all of those in your password and make sure it's at least 8 letters. We are past the era with Windows where you could easily just type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and be done with it. Now you have to get fancier with the password. So make sure you have an uppercase letter, a lowercase letter, a number, and a special character when you put in the password. And so now the operating system is installed. So this is the screen you get, you know, so it gives you, well, this is an incorrect time for me, so it tells you what time it thinks it is, what day. And basically, if you want to log in, you just do Control-Alt-Delete, just like you've done, for the last however long. Now, since this is actually sitting on the virtual machine, I have to do a special thing where I do an insert Control-Alt-Delete. And from here, I can now log in to the server. And it's now setting up the password for the first time. So that's one thing to remember if you're going to be using virtual machines to play with servers. If you hit Control-Alt-Delete, most of the time the Control-Alt-Delete, that goes to the host system. So as you saw, I'm in a virtual machine right now. When I hit Control-Alt-Delete, that put me into Windows 7. So you have to go and you have to find the setting that says Insert Control-Alt-Delete. That will actually send the Control-Alt-Delete signal to this guest operating system. So once you've logged in, basically right now it's setting your profile up for the first time. And now look at that. We have Server 2012 coming up. And yeah, from here it's going to be fun for you guys the first time to figure out what to do next. Because you will notice that there is no start button. So basically with Windows Server 2012, they have taken a lot of stuff out of the Windows 8 interface. And it's all kind of annoying as an interface goes. Just remember though, we're going to have a class on how to use this interface navigating around. But basically, Windows Server acts a lot like Windows 8 as far as the interface goes. So yeah, so that's about it. Again, now the server manager is coming up for the first time, and from here we can do things like add roles, add features, create groups, so on and so forth, but that will be done in other. This class was installing Windows Server 2012. I enjoyed teaching it and look forward to seeing you at the next one.